Hey guys, Ian Huff from Ian Huff Films and Craft Studios, and this is just another video, the fourth episode of the Spider of my unmade, unexistent Spider-Man fan films, and this is episode 4. I'm really happy that you got to see my 3 other episodes that I made, and I'm happy that I got to do more of it, and it's really great. Alright, so this one's going to be a really cool one, and I hope people will love it. And this was the best one ever that I've made back in 2018, I think, and it was a really good one. So it's been really great. The story is really good. It's kind of a dramatic action film with a lot of serious stuff and pretty much everything. So here's the whole story. Peter Parker, after the tragic death of Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker decides to stop being Spider-Man. Because Peter Parker's been Spider-Man for 4 years and lost his girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, in the hands of the Green Goblin. And his life is been a total wreck, and he stops being Spider-Man for 8 months, and his best friend tries to reason with him, and that then leads, and he faces the Green Goblin. And to make things better, that would he thinks. So then Spider-Man life would be interrupted by the Green Goblin, and Spider-Man would have no choice but to face him. Yeah, go back to Spider-Man to face him. Yeah, it's a really good one. I really loved how I made it very dramatic, and it was really great, and I'm really happy about it. And then, so it starts off where, it starts at a park. We start with the park, where Peter is at a park, alone, emotional, after the tragic death of Gwen for the past 8 months, and no longer Spider-Man. Yeah, so it's been really rough for him. Yeah, and he's been thinking a lot with just remembering how bad it was, how the tragedy and everything that came with it. And then his best friend, Ned Leeds, came, tried to comfort him, tried to reason with him from not being Spider-Man. But Spider-Man just refuses, saying, I decided not to be Spider-Man because that's not who I want to be anymore. And Ned would just try to reason with him, saying, what happened to Gwen was never your fault. And Peter would respond, saying, you're right, it wasn't my fault, it was Spider-Man's. And I can't live with that anymore. So I'm done with this life. So Peter leaves Ned at the park all by himself, continuing his emotional life. And it sucks. And then we would cut to a shadowy figure in a shadowy room, as the next scene, where he thinks about doing a plan to defeat Spider-Man once and for all. But he wants to do that by delivering a message to him. Yeah. And he figured out how. And then we cut to the next scene, where Peter Parker is at home, and he would be asleep, will fall asleep on a kitchen counter in his house, thinking about Gwen Stacy's death. We may not be able to see it when he's dreaming, but we can hear what he's dreaming. That's what I wanted. And then as we hear the snap sound, Peter will wake up like this. Wake up like, huh, it's just a dream. Yeah. And he would think to himself about how terrible it was and how he can't forget it. And then a phone call. Peter would get a phone call from Ned, asking Peter if he wants to hang out. Peter said yes, and that's where we go to the next scene, where Peter and Ned are having a fun time at a restaurant, and they're really happy. They're having a good time. They were talking about the old times, how fun it was, and then they talked about Mary Jane Watson. Ned asked Peter if he's met Mary Jane Watson, and Peter says, "I've never met her yet, and my Aunt May's trying to get me to date her, but I've never met her." And Ned says, "Huh, oh well, maybe you should meet her." And Peter would say, "Thanks, but I'm not really into dating anyone anymore because of what happened." And Peter says, "I know, I'm sorry, and I know that she's not really like Gwen." Peter would not like that, so they argue a bit, and Peter would just leave off. Yeah. That's when Ned would just reason with him again, saying that she didn't die. What happened is that she didn't die for nothing, because she died for you that you should have lived on with a better life. But Peter did not like. But Peter refuses that. Peter would say, "This is my life. I don't want to do this anymore, and I can't live with another girl that reminds me of Gwen." And that's final. And as Peter walks away, Ned would just go saying, "You know what? Maybe it's time that Spider-Man saves you for a change." Peter would stop, and we would not see Peter's face when the camera's like behind him, because we only see his head down. But when we did do a cross cut, then we jump cut to where we see his face, like feeling this guilt in the sense of like Ned is right, feeling the empathy, and yeah. So then we move. Then he walks away, and we would cut to him in the city, in a downtown city, and starts realizing that Ned was right, that she didn't die for nothing, same way that Ben didn't die for nothing either. And then we would hear police sirens pass by, and then Peter realized that this is his responsibility, so he runs off, follows where the police sirens are heading to, opens his shirt, and that's where we see the first emblem for the first time. And now the next scene is where Ned is at home at the evening. So it's the evening, and we're at Ned's house. Ned's trying to call Peter, but Peter didn't answer, so he left him a message while reasoning with him, apologizing, trying to make him understand, and then ends the call. And then the lights went out. It was all black. And I was like, man, another power outage. And Ned trying to find his way to the garage to the control switch by turning on this phone light. Then we would hear a cackly laugh echoing in the house. And then after that, we would hear the cackling laugh behind Ned. So he turns, and the cackling laugh came from a shadowy figure, which is the Green Goblin. Yep. Then we cut to the next scene the next morning, and that's where we see Peter in a happy mood. And we would see that Peter is watching a movie, the second Tremors movie, having a great time, thinking how great it was. And then we would hear a doorbell. Peter would get up, walk to the door, and we see Ned beaten, some cuts and bruises. Peter would be shocked, brings him in, and Peter would ask what happened. Ned tells him the whole story and tells him that Goblin left a message to meet him at the warehouse to face him. Peter was really. Peter then got shocked that the Green Goblin still back. Peter would accept the challenge, and then we cut to the scene at the warehouse where Green Goblin there, waiting for Spider-Man to show up, plotting his plan to destroy him permanently. And then Spider-Man jumps in. First we would hear a flipping sound. Goblin would just go, "Excellent, he comes." And this will be the last time he'll underestimate the power of the Green Goblin. Yeah. So he paces around the warehouse, and we see Spider-Man show. First, he would land like this, and stands up, with his torso forward, shoulders back. Yeah. Which is, I just think it's fun. Confronting the Green Goblin. Spider-Man didn't like the idea of Goblin coming back. He tells him to go away and stop this whole killing, torturing people. And the Goblin wouldn't accept it. So he's planning to destroy him, planning to face him. He used all his weapons. Spider-Man makes fun of him, taking off the Goblin with his weapons, his powers, and all that stuff. And then Spider-Man jumps over him and behind him, then uppercuts him, cuts him. The Goblin is down to the ground. And then Spider-Man walks up to him, saying, "It's over, Goblin, you're finished." And then he pulls the mask off and revealed that it was his other best friend, Harry Osborn. Which, it's a different twist, which I'll talk later in the story. So, Harry was ticked off. He punches Pete, boom, like that. And Harry would be ticking off, just had a lot of issues and jealousy over him, telling Peter about his jealousy and everything about him. And Peter didn't know that, trying to reason with him. Harry just goes off being mad at him all the time. Going mad at him, on his temper. And Peter's just reasoning with Harry that he never meant to lie, that he was trying to do this for him, trying to do everything right for him, but not understanding why he hates him so much. And Harry was just thrown off, thinking that he's not a cool friend and all that. Peter thinks that there's something wrong with him, trying to understand that he's trying to help him, convincing him that he needs help. And Harry just laughs at him, thinking that, "Nah, I don't need help from you." He plans to destroy him permanently. And like I keep saying that. And Peter would just go, "Don't do this, Harry." And Harry would say that Harry is dead. They would stand in a distance, looking at each other eye to eye, with fists, holding their fists. And then they ran to each other. We would first see Harry running from one side, and then Peter runs from this side. And then they would fight. They start fighting. They block, and they just keep hitting a bunch of hits. Goblin tries to take him in the upper hand, but Spider-Man takes him down. Spidey blocks and takes him down. Harry wasn't pleased with it. He brings out his knife, plans to stab him. Spidey can sense it, and he dodged it, chops the knife, grabs it, and then and accidentally stabs him with it. And Peter would be shocked with that he accidentally stabbed his best friend. And then Harry would collapse to the floor, dying, but Peter would caught him as he was about to fall to the ground. And then after that, Peter would apologize to him, Harry would do the same, but then ends his life by blowing himself up. Peter tries to stop him, but he blew up. An explosion came, Spidey flew back a bit, and started rolling far, and then flat on the side, just feeling a bit painful. He gets up, it sees the warehouse on fire. He runs in, only sees Harry's mask, which means that Harry is dead. So we cut to the final scene, is where we see Peter at Harry's funeral, right next to his cemetery, and he feels the guilt, starts feeling the guilt for the death of Harry. Ned would come comfort him because they're best friends, and Peter would just go off saying how sorry he felt for letting this happen to Harry. But Ned would just say what happened wasn't his fault because he didn't just die for nothing, just like it happened to Gwen and everything else. And Peter realized that Ned was right. And then he goes on saying maybe Harry didn't die for nothing, like Gwen and Ben. That they died for all the same reason. Great responsibility. My responsibility. And my responsibility is to move on and keep being Spider-Man. And that's it. That's where it ends. But then there is an end credit where we see Peter and MJ having a lovely moment, happy moment, yes. And then the police sirens would interrupt. Peter, a lovely moment. Peter would be unpleased by that. Tries to make an excuse, but MJ tells him that she knows. Peter would be shocked and happy about it. And MJ says, "Go get the tiger," and then he runs off. And that's where it ends, just like that. That was the end of that series. And would it have been cool if it had a sequel? Yeah, I would have had a sequel. But I didn't know what would it have. Would it have Venom? Would it have Kraven? Would it have anything? Any other villain? I mean, yeah, could have. So, you're all thinking, why would Harry be the main Green Goblin? I mean, I just wanted to be like the 2002 Green Goblin, because I was originally a big fan of him before I became a big fan of Tobey Maguire, because I originally was, back when I was a kid, and I went back to doing that. I went back to liking Tobey Maguire, because he's been my most favorite guy. Yeah, he's been my biggest inspiration, and I had a lot of I originally did have cool ideas with it, and how the suit would look like, and how the goblin would look like, and I did look some concept arts, they look really good, and, well, I just think it's really fun if I showed them to you guys later, but right now, I wouldn't show them. I would show them, but just not right now. I just, I don't know. But it's just cool telling you guys about it. So the title of it was going to be called Spider-Man True Hero. Why is that? This is about Spider-Man learning to become a true hero. I like that title, True Hero, because being a true hero is because if you not remember watching Hercules about being a true hero, but I like that quote where in Hercules at the end of Hercules about being a true hero. That Hercules realized being a true hero is not about the size of his strength, but by the strength of his heart, in his heart. I love that. And it was really good. And I just love it. The word true hero just makes it an understandable story and makes it dramatic and action. And more action-like, action-based. There were good action sequences, dramatic sequences, dark elements. Some dark elements, not full dark elements. Because of Ned being attacked by the Green Goblin at his house. Yeah. Yeah, I was really happy with that. It was a really good casting. I mean, I could have had a full cast. I mean, me as Spider-Man, someone else as Green Goblin, Jeremy as Harry Osborn Green Goblin, someone to play Ned Leeds, someone to play MJ. So that was just 4 people in the end scene, not full scene. Yeah, it wasn't really easy thinking about who to cast. I mean, the only person in it is just me. Because I involved myself, it didn't involve anyone. I mean, I wanted to involve a lot of people, but I didn't. So it didn't happen. Because it was deleted from my Google account. It was because I accidentally deleted my old YouTube account, which I don't have anymore, which is pretty sad. I couldn't find it anymore, and now I can't remember it. Ugh. I mean, I barely remember it. I just can't fully remember it anymore. But it was a really good, sad, action-based, dramatic film. I really loved it. I really loved wanting to do that. And if I wanted to do that, that would have been cool. I mean, that could have been the first thing that could have happened. And there was something that could have been before True Hero. And then, yeah, that would have been great. Instead, I got to do Peter Parker the Amazing Spider-Man series, which, I don't know, could it be a series? Could I still keep doing that, or could I do something different? I mean, I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I don't mind doing Peter Parker the Amazing Spider-Man series. But I started deciding, started doing a lot of decisions, what to do with. I don't know. I feel like I'm going too big in this series because I don't have much. Don't really have that much. And I'm like, I mean, I have a lot on my account, and right now, that I didn't want to go too low. I didn't want to spend too much. And if I was going to go on a budget, I would just start a fundraising campaign. But I don't know. I'm just not sure if I can do the big idea. Because the series is pretty big. And if I wanted to do something different than making a series, I think it would be cool. So, what do you guys think? Comment down below what you want me to do instead of doing the series. But if you want me to keep doing the series, just comment down below saying that. So, give me enough likes, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.